So I'm going to take a question from a live viewer named Ashley. And she said, could somebody gain weight off whole food starch, or can anyone eat starches? My mom is pre-diabetic and she's been watching her carbs. She said that when she eats carbs like this, that she gains. Have you ever heard that question before, Dr. McDougall?
Yeah. No. Yes. Look, folks, I mean, there are always exceptions out there. And of course, there are always liars and cheaters. And you got to start by asking whether or not this person is really telling themselves or me the truth. And most of the time, it's a misinformation that's going on, either because I failed to communicate properly what a starch-based diet is, or for one reason or another, they fail to accept the truth or understand the truth. So why do I say that no one becomes obese or overweight on a starch-based diet? It's because I've been alive for 76 years. And before 1980, there were no overweight people in China. Before 1980, the Chinese diet was 90% rice. I watched the Vietnamese conflict. I almost was involved. I was involved in it, but fortunately not in the killing fields. But we used to watch newsreels from people in Vietnam. There'd be 100,000 people on a town square. Nobody was overweight. Turn on the TV tonight. See a picture of the North Koreans. I don't mean the guy in charge who eats the rich Western diet, who ends up making his salmon and his steaks as rich as possible. You know that guy. I'm talking about the population that lives on rice and vegetables. They're no overweight people. It used to be that way in Africa too. Now, if you were in a situation where you had a lot of nuts and seeds and avocados available, and you pick these high-fat plant foods, that's a lot of starch you're eating, but you're also eating a lot of oil. I imagine in this case, you could be overweight. But I also would imagine you'd be pretty healthy. And there's actually one population that I had a paper on. It was from Africa, where there were overweight women. And, I had to blame it on the nuts and seeds and other high-fat plant foods who were vegan. Well, we'll go on with that in a minute. And these women, they were really healthy. They had no high blood pressure, high cholesterol, other health problems, but they were overweight, which brings me to the whole story of you really want to get into this, AJ? You know what I'm going to talk about? The fat vegan.
It's interesting. I mean,
yeah, I have a lot of problems with people are on the same side of the fence with me, and that is that we'd like the world to change their diet, and they like the world to stop eating and killing animals. We're on the same side of the fence, but as far as efforts go and communication goes, I could be a lot of help to a lot of fat vegans. And I wrote an article, I wrote it about 20 years ago, called The Fat Vegan. And in the book, The Starch Solution, there's a chapter called The Fat Vegan. Nobody's ever written me and said, I feel offended by that oxymoron. It's not an oxymoron. There are a lot of fat vegans out there. In fact, half the vegan population, I would guess, is overweight because they eat junk. And I told the story, many of you heard it, but I like to repeat it, is when I was a resident in internal medicine, my intern was a guy named Jeff, still lives in California. Last time, I don't know if he's alive anymore, but did last time I checked on him. He was my intern. He would not hurt any animal. I mean, I'm serious. If he saw a fly walking across his food, he would not swat it. He'd probably brush it away gently. Wore nylon belts, plastic shoes. He was a pure vegan, Jeff was. But he was also greasy skinned and grossly overweight. And of course, all I had to do was delve into his vegan diet. He lives on potato chips and Coca-Cola. And that's what a whole bunch of people are on the same side of the fence are doing, is they've got great cause, animal welfare and the planet. But when they try and communicate the message to other folks, they look at this person who's asking for them to make pretty dramatic changes and they're looking at a person who looks unhealthy and overweight. And they kind of weigh things and say, I'm concerned about the planet and animals, but if I have to look like you, be burdened like you, I'm not going to do it. So my position has been ever since I wrote this article is, look, ladies and gentlemen, who already worked hard to change the place to a better planet. I said, look, be a better communicator, look good, look healthy, look strong. So when they talk about vegans, they will talk about healthy people, because that's what we present as be a healthy, trim, strong person, not an obese, greasy, sickly person telling you to make altruistic changes in your behavior. Anyway, I don't think I've offended any fat vegans. I'm still waiting.